Now, in all my years, I cannot say that I have ever experienced such an unusual anomaly as the one that I am currently met with, especially with things continuing to go from bad to worse with each passing moment. But even now, as I stand here pondering on this problem, if something isn't done soon to change the outcome of what is shown taking place, then I'm afraid we are all going to be for a very rude awakening as things continue to worsen within Universe 7.
As our story now continues with Whis now being shown finally reaching the Omni King's homeworld, only to notice an anomaly taking place around the Omni King's palace, as even with Whis now being left having to question this and figuring out as to what had happened was when Whis then went on to respond, "Now just what in the cosmos is this? This barrier is unlike anything that I've ever seen before, but how could such a thing just suddenly appear around the Omni King's palace like this? And more importantly is why can't I detect the Omni Kings or the Grand Priest from within?" Whis questions. "For never in my time have I ever witnessed such an anomaly like this take place, especially not here," Whis continues. "And the absence of the Omni Kings and Grand Priest's life and energy signatures is a dire sign. For I must act quickly to understand this predicament before it's too late, but is it possible to go inside?" "Well now, incredible," Whis went on to press forward. "A barrier that even I cannot penetrate, for it's almost as if the very essence of this shield is designed to counter beings like myself, as the strength and complexity of this shield are beyond anything that I've encountered before, which only now begs the question on how it was formed." Whis went on to then proceed by poking his staff down at the barrier, "as I'm sure that there must be some kind of way for there to be a method in getting inside of this thing, but how?" Whis questions. "Was it those demons? Because if I do not find a way to be able to break through, then how will I be able to reach the Grand Priest along with the Omni Kings?" But then, it was only just from out of nowhere now, as Whis had assumed that he was by himself, where his sister Vados then went on to chime in, "You know, I was starting to wonder on when the others would show, for I've been here waiting for about an hour after this appeared, and trying to get down to the bottom of what was happening around here," Vados says. "Sister Vados, so you were the first to experience this strange barrier before any of the others, were you? So would you then happen to know on what exactly was shown having to happen here?" With Vados responding, "Well, I was, but I can't tell you as to how or why this had happened, but I was planning on alerting the other angels shortly after if I wasn't able to find the solution in getting through." Which, speaking of, Vados continues, "Would you happen to know as to why this is happening? Is it me, or were you able to pick up on some very unusual things that have been happening as of late throughout the multiverse, Whis?" With Whis responding, "Well, even though I may not have all of the answers as of right now, I did happen to stumble upon a pair of individuals that may in fact be directly responsible for all of this taking place. And for this, I recently stumbled across two demons who were on a mission to collect the Super Dragon Balls as they were pulling them back into their realm," Whis continues. "And while I'd assumed that these demons were taking these Dragon Balls and bringing them back into the demon realm, I also happened to overhear their names, and upon having to hear it, I then remembered as to where I had heard these names before. For in the ancient Book of the Fallen, I remember reading on the names of these Dark Masters that happened to have ruled over the demon realm, as they were only second behind another dark entity, and so I do believe that whatever this barrier is, must have more than likely have been caused by those demons who I happened to catch stealing the Super Dragon Balls, and as I only fear that things will only now begin to get worse so as long as they're in possession of the Super Dragon Balls as well," with Vados having to chime in, "Demons who hail under the title of Dark Masters? Well, now it's all beginning to make more and more sense to me," she says, "as they are now more than likely the ones who are responsible and behind all of this, especially if you've seen them collecting the Super Dragon Balls, but without direct clearance by the Grand Minister, how are we going to act on fixing this issue without breaking the laws of the angels, Whis?" With Whis responding, "Well, it's an extreme case, because if nothing is done and we are unable to retrieve the Super Dragon Balls from the Dark Master's possession, well then I'm afraid that even despite with the consequences being as grave as they are, the law of the angels will need to be broken if we are to ensure the survival of the entire multiverse, so take that how you will." "What a truly horrible situation," Vados went on to then respond, "for we